The call. Senator Hanson.
Thank you very much. Well, again, it's all right to have a go at the Labor Party over the climate change and mention Labor Party, but you don't like to cop it back. And the fact is, why I'm saying this is that all the leaders of the political party had their say yesterday with regards to the Senator Faruqi's notice motion yesterday, but I was denied that right. I was denied the right because you shut it down. They purposely did it. And that's why I'm going to have my say today on behalf of the Australian people. And you're only doing it all the time just to run down the time, through you, the chair, because Senator McKim doesn't want me to get my message out to the Australian people. So they're using this all the time to shut down my time of having saying what I need to say.
Senator Hanson.
Yes, wanting to shut down the voice for Australians because the thousands of Australians that were in unison together to stand up for their flag, their country, and against mass migration. And the motion that was moved yesterday was disgraceful. They claimed these Australians were led by neo-Nazis and far-right extremists. They claimed these peaceful demonstrations were rampages and even claimed that the country will never be safe unless these everyday, normal, ordinary Australians were forced forever silence. I don't think anything illustrates the hypocrisy and ignorance of the hateful Greens better than their motion. They fall over themselves to encourage and attend protests in support of Middle Eastern terrorism. We want our country back. They want their country back. And as they said to me yesterday, and I was so proud to see that at least a member of Parliament actually turned up. Not by myself. I was accompanied by Senator Roberts and Senator Tyrone Whitten, who actually accompanied me. And the Australian people were so proud to see that we took the time. You didn't turn up because, you know what? They know how much they hate you because of the policies you're imposing on them.
Your time has expired.
All right. Imagine this opening moment hitting your ears like a magpie at dawn. Loud, unexpected, and impossible to ignore. The camera flicks on, and you are thinking you've tuned into a calm political discussion. Maybe a nice cup of tea, maybe a sensible chat. Nope. What you've wandered into instead is the Australian Senate, which on this particular day feels less like Parliament House and more like a school assembly where the bell's broken and everyone's arguing about who stole whose lunch. And right in the middle of it all is Pauline Hanson, standing there like she's just walked back from a Sunday barbecue where someone nicked a folding chair, absolutely determined to have her say whether anyone likes it or not. Real quick before we roll the footage, if you're enjoying this content, do me a huge favour, hit that like button and smash subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. Don't be one of them. It's free for you and it helps us out more than you know. Already clicked? You're awesome. Let's get into the video.
One Nation senators and the member for Kennedy were the only members in this parliament who defied the far left and the mainstream media to stand with many thousands of Australians protesting mass migration. Yesterday, the hateful Greens tried to force the Senate to condemn these everyday Australians for marching under their national flag.
Just resume your seat, please. On a point of order, Senator McKim.
Thanks very much, Acting Deputy President. The point of order is relevant. Senator Faruqi needs to mount an argument as to why standing orders should be suspended. That is the motion she has put, and in fact she is not mounting that kind of an argument. She's engaging in a political attack which is not relevant to the question before the chair.
I would think on the surface, Senator McKim, that these speeches are always wide-ranging, but I will give Senator Hanson the opportunity to continue and monitor. Senator Hanson.
Thank you very much. Yes, wanting to shut down the voice for Australians because the thousands of Australians that were in unison together to stand up for their flag, their country, and against mass migration. And the motion that was moved yesterday was disgraceful. They claimed these Australians were led by neo-Nazis and far-right extremists. They claimed these peaceful demonstrations were rampages and even claimed that the country will never be safe unless these everyday, normal, ordinary Australians were forced forever silence. I don't think anything illustrates the hypocrisy and ignorance of the hateful Greens better than their motion. They fall over themselves to encourage and attend protests in support of Middle Eastern terrorism.
Senator Hanson, I will ask you to resume your seat. Senator McKim on a point of order.
Thank you. A point of order on two matters. Firstly, once again, on relevance. Senator Hanson is not addressing urgency and whether or not the standing orders should be suspended. Secondly, Standing Order 193.3, which prevents personal reflection on other members of this chamber. Senator Hanson is clearly in breach of that standing order.
Senator McKim, just to address your point of order, I don't see a problem, but what I will do for you is I'll consult the clerk.
She starts off swinging, talking about that march is mass immigration, and we can almost hear the collective gasp from the usual suspects. Flags were waved. Australians showed up. The horror. Somewhere in Canberra, a clutch of advisors probably spilled their oat milk lattes in unison. Pauline's tone is pure, "I've had a gutful," and she's painting a picture of thousands of ordinary Aussies rocking up peacefully, holding the flag, thinking they still live in a country where you're allowed to do that. And then bang, into the Greens, with emotions so dramatic you'd think the march involved dragons and a fog machine. According to them, this wasn't a protest, it was apparently the end of civilization as we know it. Now here's where the parody really writes itself. Every time Pauline starts getting momentum, up pops a point of order. Not one, not two, but so many you start wondering if there's a loyalty card. 10 points of order and the 11th one's free. Relevance, they say, with straight faces, while the entire chamber knows relevance in the Senate is more of a vibe than a rule. Pauline's barely warmed up and already she's being told to sit down, stand up, sit down again, like political musical chairs. Meanwhile, Penny Wong is off somewhere in the background, calm as ever, giving off that unmistakable energy of someone who's absolutely certain she's the adult in the room, even while the room itself is on fire. And Albo? Well, Albo's not even there. Upper house, lower house, rules are rules. But his absence hangs over the debate like a cardboard cutout at a press conference. You can practically hear Pauline addressing an invisible Prime Minister, asking questions into the void, knowing full well he'll have something very serious and rehearsed to say about it later, preferably near a hard hat or a high-vis vest. Pauline keeps going, insisting she never named anyone, which is technically true in that very political way where everyone knows exactly who you're talking about without you saying the name out loud. It's like saying, a certain someone who may or may not run the country, and then looking directly at the camera. The chair listens intently, nodding along, clearly aware that if this debate were any more wide-ranging it would need its own passport.
What really lands, though, is the theatre of outrage. Pauline talks about being shut down, about voices being silenced, and every interruption just makes the point louder. The more she's told to resume her seat, the more determined she becomes to stand there and squeeze every last second out of her speaking time. When she mentions Australians marching under their flag, she makes it sound like a radical act of rebellion, like people secretly unfurling the Southern Cross under cover of darkness. And in this parody version of events, you can imagine Penny Wong somewhere thinking, honestly, all this fuss over a flag, while also knowing full well how powerful that image is. Then there's the back and forth about freedom. Pauline frames it as something precious, something fragile, something that apparently needs defending from motions, amendments and strongly worded statements. The Greens in her telling are always protesting something, except when it's Australians doing it, in which case suddenly protests are very bad and everyone should go home and think about what they've done. It's delivered with that classic Australian bluntness, the kind that sounds half like a pub rant and half like a warning from your auntie who's seen a few things and isn't impressed. The chair keeps reminding her of the clock, 2 minutes, then less, then hardly any time at all. It's like watching someone try to finish a story while the taxi meter's ticking. Pauline rattles through her points, talking about immigration, housing pressures, people doing it tough, all while maintaining that unmistakable "I'm not done yet" glare. And the parody twist is that every time she says Australians are still free, it sounds less like a statement and more like a dare. By the end, the chamber feels exhausted, the audience feels entertained, and the whole thing wraps up with that uniquely Australian blend of seriousness and absurdity. Pauline's time expires, the chair moves on, and somewhere Penny Wong and Anthony Albanese are probably preparing calm, measured responses that sound nothing like this, and yet exist entirely because moments like this keep happening. And that's the joke of it all. You've got high drama over procedure, flags, motions, and who's allowed to say what, while everyday Aussies watching at home are just thinking, blimey, this lot really can't help themselves. It's loud, it's messy, it's occasionally ridiculous, and it's very, very Australian. And whether you agree with Pauline or not, you can't deny she knows how to turn the Senate into must-watch television, complete with interruptions, invisible prime ministers, and enough points of order to last a lifetime.